Hi, everyone. I gave a session yesterday about hyperlocal journalism, and I'm going to talk a little bit about what we're doing on a site that I helped launch in New Jersey called injersey.com. First, a couple of words about who I am. My name's Ted Mann. I work for Gannett, which is a big, bad newspaper company, so please don't hold that against me. I'm a big WordPress enthusiast. I've been using WordPress for many years, made the movable type switch, I think, about like 6 years ago or so. And in the newspaper world, I've launched a number of blogs at every newspaper I worked at. Every time I get my hands on a reporter, I try and get them up on a blog as quickly as I can. What you may have already heard is that the newspaper business is in trouble these days, kind of hurting, cutting back on staff a lot. And one of the big casualties of all this is local news, or what some people like to call hyperlocal news, town-specific news. We're just not doing it as well as we used to. And so what I have been advocating at my company and trying to come around and advocate just in general is the idea that we can use WordPress and BuddyPress to hopefully create a whole new model for how we cover small town news. So, first of all, what is hyperlocal? It's news pertaining to a specific town or small community. On the New York Times, for example, you'll have a hyperlocal blog called The Local. Excellent blog, one of the best examples of how we're doing this. But then it's very different from what you'd see like on a New York or a regional section front on their site, which is just basically newspaper stories online. There are a lot of different models for hyperlocal sites. You've got your citizen-run hyperlocals. You've got ones that have trained professionals who are making a living at it, getting a salary. You have the pro-am model, and that's really what I'm going to talk about here, is the idea that you can have trained or veteran journalists collaborating with citizen journalists, people from the community. And then, of course, lastly, you have your aggregators. And there's some very nice, every block is a phenomenal example of an aggregator site, but those are more or less automated and pulling in content. The biggest challenge that all of these hyperlocal models have, I think, is user-generated content. If you go the aggregator way, you can of course suck up as much user-generated content as you want, but really the best kind of sites are the ones that actually go and enlist people from the community or citizen journalists to actually contribute and write. And currently, most of the sites, the way that they do this is with forums or calls for submissions, but it hasn't really worked so far. So our solution is pretty simple. It's BuddyPress. It's to use BuddyPress and open registration to allow people to register for the site, sign up, and begin posting. And it's been really great. And when I say we use BuddyPress, I mean we use all facets of BuddyPress. We use the user profiles, the ability to author posts, access to the site. Not admin access, but like a very basic level of access. And then, more importantly, we have the full-time journalists who are running these sites constantly in contact with all of the people who've joined and signed up in their town and giving them feedback on what they posted. We never actually edit posts. That's one of those liability issues that you sometimes get into in the publishing world. But we coach very actively, and we give feedback on what kind of content they're posting, what kinds of things they should be covering. We send submission requests out to people. We do calls for action. So if you want to see a demo of how this all works, I'm not going to show it, I don't have time. Just go to injersey.com/about. We got a little video up there that shows that. Quickly, for everybody in the audience, these are a few of the plugins that we use. They're really cool. The Post Google Map one from Web Dev Studios, shout out, awesome. It's a great plugin for mapping your content, and the only one that I'm aware of that works seamlessly throughout all of WordPress. Add Minimize is a great one for restricting exactly what your users see. Feed WordPress if you want to syndicate other community bloggers. Welcome Pack, WP Wall. Event Calendar is another fantastic one. I recommend the Tweet Me button for just every blog. I think it's really cool, as well as Facebook Share. And last but not least, this last plugin is brand new. I think it's been, publicly released. Also a Web Dev Studios product. Forgive me if I'm sounding like a shill, but it's really cool. It does something that I needed for a long time, which is to allow people to register on a blog-by-blog basis through BuddyPress, which is a neat feature. Maybe that'll one day be part of core, but it's a really cool thing. Other hyperlocal tools, I think I've already run over. I'm going to stop there, but thank you.